Foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem conquered us. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, whom the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, man. All right, I want to give double honor to the elders and the apostles that bring this, and I do well. I want to say peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. To you all, I say shalom. You know, before wanted to talk about, prophecy, not only what's about to happen, but things that are going on now for the four corners of the world. I wrote some precepts together. I wrote some precepts together. And I wanted to talk about gratitude. Speaking to myself first and foremost, or speaking about myself first and foremost. We have to practice more gratitude, man. Practice continuously, whenever good times or bad times. Whether you're waiting for something or whether you have it already, man. Practice and continually get in the habit of saying, the water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, giving thanks to the Almighty and His only begotten Son, man. All right, because it can always be worse, man. It can always be worse. So you have to be grateful for what we have. But even in captivity, man. Scripture says, I believe in the Psalms, you're going to praise the name of the Lord even in the land or here, in the midst of the heathen, man. Let's be paraphrasing, right? Because, it's always be worse, man. No matter how bad things are, it can always be worse. And right now, things are horrible. They will be worse. We'll take the struggle. But, we got to practice being grateful for even waking up, for having clothes on our back, for being able to eat, man, for being able to walk, being able to talk, being able to see. There's a lot of people that don't have that, man. There's people out here with no legs. People out here quadriplegic, can't use their arms or legs. People out here have to be fed through a tube. But even if you're in that situation, I'm still able to eat. The scripture says in Lamentations, the worst way to give up the ghost is by famine, because those pine away, man. You pine away waiting, man. All right, actually, let me get that real quick, because famine is coming up, man. Famine is coming. All right, all hell's about to break loose in this place, man. And one of the things about famine is, it makes people act irrational, so-called irrational. Right? You go to the grocery store, you'll walk down or walk past the aisle that sells beans or cans of beans, and not thinking anything of it. But in the day that's coming, man, a can of beans is gonna be a treasure, man. All right, real quick. Right, because people are gonna wish they had something to eat. Right, a can of beans will be preserved. It won't be like you're eating trash or rotten food, or food that somebody took a bite of, or eating other humans, or eating your own flesh. Because it says in that day people eat their own flesh. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. And none of the by with a severe sword, severe weaponry, because somebody shoots you in the head, somebody shoots you in the heart, or somebody stabs you in the heart. Somebody stabs you, even if you get stabbed in the back or stabbed in the stomach, you slowly leak out. You go up the ghost that way. That's still better than hunger, man. Because hunger will take weeks for you to go up the ghost. You'll sit there in agony. Your imagination, your mind will play tricks on you, man. Where everything will start to be like, damn, did I eat that? That's why in that day, again, the water y'all brushing outside. In that day, people would eat the most atrocious things, man. Right? And in the middle of deep trouble, people will be eating. I'm talking about raw. Not even cooking it, not even slaying it, just catching it with their hands and just biting it while it's still alive. People will be eating possums, raccoons, birds, lawful and unlawful animals. But the thing about that is, there's gonna be so much filth and trash out here. The animals are gonna be eating the filth and trash. They're gonna be feasting actually, right? But they're gonna be dwelling in the filth and the trash. So their bodies are gonna be ridden with bacteria. Bodies are gonna be ridden with parasites, and that's gonna make people lash out and get sicker, right? Act even crazier. Because the one thing about parasites is when they're in your body, they feed on what's called serotonin. All right, when they feed on that, they feed on that, or they're able to traverse, as you say. They're able to move around your body better when your body is high on serotonin. And your body produces a lot of serotonin during times like the full moon. All right, this is why a lot of wild shit happens in the full moon. People do a lot of rituals in the full moon because the parasites and the fucking acting wild, man. So imagine how much more in Jacob's trouble, man. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field. Right? Stricken through, hurt because they can't have the fruits of the field, which is, vegetation. And anything that goes on the field, whether it be fruits, vegetables, wheat, barley, anything that you can't get it. You have no access to it. All right. What if during that famine, the Lord hits you with a double whammy, with a famine and a drought, 2 in 1. So not only is there no food, there's no water, and a drought is especially bad because a drought causes famine. Right? There's no water, not just to drink, not just to bathe. There's no water to water your crops. How the crops gonna grow, man? So you're not gonna be able to grow food if there's no water, man. All right, go real quick. The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, starting at verse 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right, and that's the thing. People do irrational things out of fear, man. People make haste out of fear, right? And they do dumb decisions. It's like the scary movies, even though fucking movies ain't real, but they tell you the truth. They tell you a lot of truth in movies, man. Or even the scary movies, what happens? You see a character getting scared and making haste, running somewhere, leaving a building, going to a field, and you're in the audience going, no, don't go there, don't go there. But even though it's a script and pop it out, it shows human nature. So when people are afraid, it's called fight or flight. People have 2 instincts, really 3 instincts. Either to survive, which is really fight, or if flight is survive too, but that's to run away. Or the third instinct is really to freeze and lock up, man. All right, and that's the days. If the men are afraid, how much more the women, man? The women follow the man, all right? Or at least they're supposed to. But in that day, they will, all right? Because the women are the weaker vessel. So they're not going to be all I don't need a man, this and that. Feminism is going to be dead in the day of Jacob Trouble, man. Again, you've got to be grateful. The water Yahweh Bashim outside, man. All right, the water Yahweh Bashim outside. Even now, man, now that we're in a position where, the foundation of earth is not a court, and a woman has compassion to man. Because the water Yahweh should be outside, because it shows us the error of our ways. It shows us that what happens when we fuck up, man. When I say we, I'm talking about the nation of Israel, the so-called black and Native Americans, for the most part. Just because you're a so-called black and Hispanic or Native American, just because you're so-called dark skin, doesn't mean automatically you're an Israelite. There are such things as tares, right? And tares are the ones that descend from other nations, right? right? But they are actually heathens. But they might look like the so-called typical so-called typical black man, so-called typical Hispanic man, so-called typical Native American. But they're actually terrorists because during captivity, even now, a lot of our women were taken by the so-called white man, taken by so-called Chinese men, taken by the heathen, and produced offspring, man. And those and since the so-called genetics, since the gene, the so-called black, Hispanic, Native American men are so strong, they overpower usually mostly Edomite genes, Esau genes. So the child also will look like, their mother. They resemble the melanin and the dark skin. They might have features of the father, but they resemble mostly the mother. And because of that, people mistake them for Israelites, but they're not, man. If your father or your forefathers are heathens, then that child is a heathen, man. All right, just like in Numbers 1, it says, let me get it real quick. The Lord already gave us the download, man. Again, the water Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. Numbers 1 and 18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. This doesn't mean fucking February, right? Months start based on the new moon, right? And the year starts in spring, all right? January is not the first month of the year. It's something that it's something that Esau spread out. Months start in spring. That's why unleavened bread or Passover, occurs during the first month, the second week of the first month, which is spring. We don't hold Passover in January, all right? Sometimes, based on the cycle of the moon, sometimes it's in March, sometimes it's in April. Spring, man. Numbers 1 and 18, and they assemble all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Right. Pedigrees are determined, the lineage is determined by the house of the father, by the seed. Right? And in the Greek, in the New Testament, seed goes into the word for seed is sperma, right? Sperm. One species produces sperm, male, right? That's what our pedigrees are based off of, man. Even the scriptures, a farmer is called a husbandman. Why is that? Because what do farmers do? They tend to the crops, but they plant seeds, man. All right, just like a man plants a seed, and the offspring is based on the lineage of the seed. It depends what type of seed was planted. I.e., you take an apple, right? You take an apple, you plant it in Babylon, aka America, you're gonna get an apple tree. Or you take that same seed and plant it in China, or plant it in New Zealand, or plant it anywhere else, you're not gonna get a Chinese apple tree, man. You still gonna get an apple tree, man. It's based on the seed. Or you still gonna get an apple, based on the vegetation around it. You might get a different variety of apple. But the tree will get pollinated by the plants around it, by the bees around it, man. All right? Just because the apple might look a little different, the genus, which is the family of the species, is still the apple. You're not going to call it, oh, this is a Chinese, no, man. It's still an apple. Right? back in the day, they used to call pomegranates Chinese apples. I'm saying that so I don't get confused or I don't sound confusing when I say Chinese apple. A pomegranate and apple are not the same. They're not in the same family. You don't plant an apple seed in China and get a pomegranate. It doesn't work that way. Let me jump back to 2 Esdras 15. 2 Esdras 15, verse 18. For because of the pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Right? People are going to have weapons, in the day of different trouble. They might not have, or I'll say not everybody. Esau might have it. They might not have fucking Uzis and M16s and automatic weapons and pistols and like that. Because, ammunition will be limited. It will be finite. You can't put a gun stuff. Esau has stockpiles of ammunition. Right? Because his blessing is a sword. Esau might have it. But anything could be used as a sword. You can kill somebody with anything, man. A hammer, a screwdriver, a baton, a 2x4, anything can be used as a baseball bat. So people are gonna, basically get it how they live in that day. They'll have access to that before they'll have access to food. And so because of that, they're gonna run up in their neighbors' houses. They're gonna treat people who thought they were cool, though, who thought they were cool with each other. They're gonna treat them with violence, just for access to food. Just like in that movie, that Netflix movie, Leave the World Behind. Like the neighbor needed medicine for his son. I believe it was his son. So he went to his neighbor's house and was like, yo, please let me get this. And the dude ended up pulling a shotgun on him. And he said, the dude that got the shotgun pointed at him, he put his hand up, was like, hey man, I thought we were friends. The nigga with the shotgun said, hey, that was the old way of thinking. Or that was the old days, something like that, man. And that's exactly what 2 Esdras 15 is talking about, man. You think somebody's gonna be your friend. You think you're gonna be cool with somebody. But that's the old way of thinking, man. A nigga, I ain't got it, or I got it and you ain't got it. Nigga, what's mine is mine, man. And right now, it's easy to share things. It's easy for people to be so-called courteous or neighborly or friendly, But wait till the day of the great day of want, the great day of need, man. And we have it all now, man. We really do, right? Even homeless people eat good out here, man. All right? Why? Because they have access to people freely hand them things. People give them things. Sometimes they have to beg for it. They go through trash and find things. They find things laying around. A lot of them use their resources to get abominable things or unclean things such as drugs. But they still have. Even the homeless people out here really aren't in the want. Because a lot of homeless people, the majority, the majority of homeless people out here, especially if they're able-bodied, they're not homeless because they're stuck on hard times. They want to be homeless, man. They're not too proud to beg. They don't mind begging, man. But there are a lot of homeless as well. Not the majority, but a minority who they can't work. They don't have friends, family. People to care about them. They're stuck in hard times, or they might have been addicted to drugs once, and then they're trying to get clean, or they got clean. But all their resources were spent on drugs. And now they just roam the streets, man. But hey, the Lord feeds everybody, man. This is why this lesson is about, or the majority of this lesson is about practicing gratitude, man. Because The Lord takes care of everything, man. Truly. Animals, plants, people, man, more than anything. You know, like it says in Psalms 37. Or Slocky Money 34. Psalms 37, verse 25, I have been young and now am old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, or nor his seed begging bread. He is merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Right, because the Lord helps his children, man. Even when his children don't know him. Children don't know his children don't know his name. The children don't know his judgment. The Lord still looks out for his people, man. But of course, you know, judgment as well comes with that, man. But judgment is still looking out for, being judged is still the Lord looking out for you, man. Imagine if you never felt pain and you were able to withstand any amount of pain, and you touch the stove or you put your hand in a fireplace. If you didn't feel pain, you would leave your hand in there, but your hand will still, the flesh will still burn off, the nerves will still be fried, you'll still lose, you'll pull your hand out, it'll be worthless and useless. You might not feel pain, but it doesn't mean it won't have an effect. Right? But judgment, the pain from judgment, it tells you, hey, you're doing the wrong thing, you're going on the wrong path. Or sometimes pain isn't necessarily judgment either. Sometimes it's just the Lord saying, you know, testing you, trying you. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna, after you're going through this pain, are you gonna fall back into the world? Are you gonna lean on to the world? Trust in the world? Trust in your enemy to see if you get relief from this pain? Or are you gonna pray to Yahweh outside to soothe your pain, to ease your pain? So even in judgment or hard times, or even in judgment and hard times, again, even in judgment and hard times, you know, we gotta give things to the Lord, man. All right? Because a hard time isn't always judgment. But let me jump to the book of 1 Thessalonians. Again, I said, a lot of y'all about you, because I got multiple trees in front of me, but directly in front of me I have like two big ass trees. So it's really four. They're just intertwined. But I remember last week or 2 weeks before, you know, there was mice, you know, crawling through the bottom of the trees, man. All right? And I was seeing that, and it was disgusting. But again, the water y'all about outside, you know, I have a place to spread the word, spread the gospel of Yahweh outside. All right? And mice have a purpose. Pigeons have a purpose. But again, the water y'all outside is not like Philadelphia. Because right now, Philadelphia is going through a crisis, not a crisis, but a strike, where the sanitation workers are on strike. So there's trash all over the streets of Philadelphia, man. And when that piles up, man, or as it's piling up, what's going to pile up as well is disease, you know, mice, you know, bacteria, uncleanness everywhere, man. You know, back in the day, or they used to say, at the end of the Dark Ages, the so-called Dark Ages, or Dark Ages, the end of Dark Ages came about by what they call the so-called Black Plague. You know, it's ironic how they call it Dark Ages because Jake was in power, Jake was in leadership. They call it the Black Plague because who did it affect? It affected Jake. They said the Black Plague was brought upon by mice. But you know, there are stories about how Amalek, the so-called witch man, you know, poisoned the water supply, you know, to infect infect Jake with various diseases, man. And that brought upon the Renaissance, man. When you go into the word Renaissance, it means rebirth or renewal, man. You know, rebirth of what? Of Esau and power and wisdom. Sloppy. So I want to get First Thessalonians. This is why history is important. Because if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat the same thing you did in the past, man. This is why reincarnation is a biblical thing. It's a real thing. But this is why history repeats itself. The same spirits before are coming back, doing the same thing over and over again, especially when they don't know their history. So this is that, which in a way actually proves reincarnation even more, because the same people come back over and over again and they don't know their history, but they do the same thing. It's not like they were told to do the same thing. They just did the same thing because the spirit did the same thing, right? So 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 16, rejoice evermore. Pray without ceasing. In everything give thanks. For this is the will of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai concerning you. So in everything give thanks. You know, pray without ceasing. You know, rejoice evermore, man. It doesn't say complain evermore. It doesn't say being bitter. Even the book of Psalms, man. Yeah, the Psalms, or the book of the Psalms, are mostly the songs of King David. A lot of them are him crying out to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. But a lot of them are him giving thanks too, man. Giving thanks. Even though he has a lot to complain about, or a lot to cry about, I shouldn't say complain. Complaining and crying are two different things. You know, because you'll hit a child, or you rebuke a child, and the child will start crying because of the pain. But the child won't be more likely like, oh my God, you always hitting me, shit like that. That's complaining, man. So King David's not really complaining, but he's crying out, right? But he's giving thanks in a lot of the Psalms, man. A lot of the Psalms, King David is giving thanks. Actually, let me get one right now. Really, it's like every other chapter, you know, he's giving things. Or, yes. Rocky, I wrote this one down. Yeah, that was good. The book of Psalms, chapter 18. I'll start at verse 46. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock. Let the power of my salvation be exalted. It is Yahweh that avengeth me, and subdueth the people under me. Right? You know, not taking credit in his own might. but giving glory to Yahweh Shai for the position that he's in, man, and the things that he has. But even the things he didn't have, the King David still give thanks, man. Excellent, excellent, I should say, example of a man. Excellent role model, King David is, man. All of our forefathers written in scriptures are excellent role models. Not all of them, but Salakia. Because some of them are, examples of being wicked. Psalms 18 and verse 48. He delivereth me from mine enemies. Yea, thou liftest me up above those that rise up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Verse 49. Therefore will I give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name. Right? We'll give things among the heathen. Just like we're doing now in Babylon, man. We're in the land of our captivity. We're surrounded by our enemies. We're surrounded. We're in a land that, that's far away from our home. But we still gotta give thanks, man. If King David was in Babylon in captivity, he would give thanks, man. Yeah, he would write the Psalms crying out against the wicked, not actually complaining, but, understanding that the Lord is about to deliver him, just like the Lord is about to deliver us, man. All right? King David is an excellent example of how to walk, man. Even though he went off, what did he do? He cried out to the Lord for forgiveness, which is what we got to do, man. All right? A righteous man is going to fall, man. This flesh is wicked. But you got to get up again, man. You can't stay down, man. Just like in boxing. You might get knocked down, but you got to continue to fight if you have to fight in you, man. Some boxers might throw the fight, might get knocked down and stay the fuck down, man. But you gonna stay down in Babylon, man? Are you gonna stay down in this place? Which is known as Actually, let me finish this real quick. Psalms 18 and verse 49 again. Therefore will I give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name. Great deliverance giveth he to his king, and showeth mercy to his anointed, to David and to his seed forevermore. Man. All right? So there's no point in staying down in a place. You gotta give up the fight, man. You can't give up the fight on a place like this, man. When you give up the fight, you basically saying you want your enemy to win, man. Giving up the fight is saying, you know what? I want Esau to rule. I want the heathen to win. I want to take the MOTD. I like my bread being defiled. I like women ruling over me. I like my wife being a harlot. I like all of this, man. I love paying tribute to Caesar. That's what giving up a fight means in this place, man. While you're alive, while you have breath, while you got the spirit, you have to fight against this place, man. You got to rebuke this place, man. It doesn't mean, to go around saying, Esau, you're going into slavery. So-called white man is going to be slave. Everywhere you go, every so-called white person you see, right? So I guess you got to try the spirit by the spirit. Because some so-called white people out there are white. Aren't actually Edomites. Not a majority. There are a lot of Edomites, so-called white people out there that might look like Edomites, but are actually Israelites. But just like, our women procreated with heathens, our men procreated with heathens as well, man. All right? And some of them did it throughout their bloodline, throughout their lineage. So, the so-called blackness, the so-called melanin was taken out more and more. But the spirit wasn't taken out, the seed wasn't taken out. It's still the same seed, even though it might look different, it's still the same person, man. It's still in Israel. Alright? You don't judge just by basically skin color. If you judge solely of skin color without trying the spirit or testing the spirit, you're going off, man. You know, sometimes you might be right, but if you're wrong and you condemn an Israelite and tell an Israelite he has no chance of making it, man, their blood is on your hands, man. Alright? Let me get that real quick. Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. I mean, it's all Israelites, man. You know, not specific tribes, but all of Israel, man. All 12 tribes, man. Even the ones scattered abroad. Even the foreigners, man. We are made a watchman unto them. All right? Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. This is a warning from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. And the Wadi Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for the warning. You know? The Wadi Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for the judgment. The Wadi Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for the warning. The Wadi Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for everything, man. Because really, there are truly no such thing as L's. Right? L is a... Some people use that word or that term, a terminology like, oh nigga, you lost. Or you took a loss. Nigga, that's an L. An L really is short for not loss, but a learning lesson, man. That's what a true L is, a learning lesson. Right? If you get knocked down or knocked back, and you don't learn anything from that experience, or you do the same things over again, that's when it's an L. If you get knocked back, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from your losses, you learn from others' mistakes, right? This is why, the reason why a lot of our forefathers, the scriptures, have gone off or have gone through hardships. Not only just to try and test their spirit, not only for judgment, but just so we can learn from their mistakes as well, man. Right? Because what does it say in... And the Wadi Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, I'm able to, hold the book again, man. Well, actually, I can always hold it with basically my right hand, but now my right left hand is like at 85%, 90% usability, man, capability, right? So I'm slowly getting back to where I was, man. The Wadi Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? Because, little shit in the world you take for granted, man. But this is the book of Romans, chapter 15, the verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. All right? The judgments, the misdeeds our forefathers did or went through, right? The trials and tribulations our forefathers went through, it was written for our learning. It's a lesson for us, man. All right? That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. Right? And that's what the scriptures is. The gospel is. The good news is, man. It's truly a comfort, man. The Lord, the comforter, man. Written about the comforter, so we can learn from it. Understand what's coming. Understand what we're going through. Understand where we're going. And it should be a comfort to you, man. It should be a comfort that, this place isn't going to last forever. Captivity isn't going to last forever. Trials and tribulations isn't going to last forever. All right, but the one thing that will last forever is the kingdom, man. And the Wadi Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for that, man. So, man. Back to Ezekiel chapter 3 In verse 18, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. If you're not warning the wicked of his wicked ways, to save his life, man. You're not warning him out of your own pride to boast about your own righteousness. You're warning him because through the fear of the Lord how he persuades men. You're warning them because Yahweh Shem outside will judge you. Will judge them. So you're warning them like, hey, that's not the right path to go down, man. Right? Smoking them cigarettes, smoking that weed, doing them drugs, rolling them drugs, being a sodomite, committing adultery. You don't want to do that, man. Eating abominable food, you don't want to do that, man. All right, because, you might not get judged instantly, but you will be judged, man. You will be judged, and that's a guarantee. For every person walking the earth, they will be judged, man. All right? So you rather be judged for your good works or for your evil works, man. All right? Ezekiel 3:19, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. He shall die in his iniquity. Shall is a guarantee, man. The Lord shall return. The Lord is guaranteed to return. The wicked will die in their iniquity. The wicked is guaranteed to die in their abominations and the sins that they commit. Right? And the wicked being, 2/3 of all people. But just because you're an Israelite doesn't guarantee you salvation. Just because you're so-called black, Hispanic, Native American doesn't mean, you're guaranteed a spot on a chariot. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to be beaten up, man. Because 2/3 of our people will face the wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They will face judgment, man. All right? But you got to practice and rehearse the righteous acts while you still have a chance, man. And one of the things we got to practice more and more is gratitude, man. I can't say it enough, man. Nobody can say it enough, man. The water Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. The water Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The water Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right? Because right now we're in the cool of the day, man. Shit ain't really, the heat ain't really, picked up yet. But we see the signs of it escalating. You see people going through tribulation, people having hard times. You see Central Texas is flooded, right? You see that, man. You see, the trash piling up in Philadelphia. You see the so-called India and Pakistan war. You see Russia versus Ukraine. You see these things, man. And now China recently put out a statement saying he can't allow the Russians to move to Ukraine. Basically saying they're going to back Russia up if Ukraine has a fighting chance. Well, Ukraine doesn't have a fighting chance on their own. So Ukraine's being backed up by other nations as well. Right? So we're seeing this, and we're understanding that we're at the end times, man. And again, the water Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we're at the end times, man. The water Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we don't have to spend another century in this place, man. Another century of captivity. Another century of Esau, Edom running this place. Just look how much wickedness has happened just in the past 20 years, let alone a century being 100 years. Right? 2 decades ago, seeing sodomites wasn't a normal thing. Pride parades wasn't a normal thing. There are some cities or some locations may have had a pride parade, maybe in New York, maybe in Miami, maybe in San Francisco, might have had a pride parade. But now you got damn near every city in Babylon celebrating and observing what they call Pride Month. You damn near got every corporation in this place observing so-called Pride Month, man. Which is absolutely wicked, man. Right? A sodomite is filthy, man. And that's another thing with this filth accumulating in Philadelphia, man. Adultery will rise. Adultery will skyrocket. Sodomy will rise. So when your temple is polluted with all sorts of bacteria and all sorts of parasites, you know, it'll bug you the fuck out, man. You won't be able to think clearly or maybe think your own thoughts. But there are parasites that are known to hijack your thoughts and hijack your actions, man. I believe it's called Toxoplasma gondii or something like that. Well, it's usually spread by cats. But what do cats play with and attack? They attack mice, right? And Toxoplasma gondii is a parasite that infects mice. You know, and since cats are a predator to mice, the parasite hijacks the brain of the mice and makes them friendly with cats, so they can spread to cats, right? So it makes the mice not run away from cats, but actually run towards cats and be friendly with them, so that mice can infect the cat. And the cat usually ends up infecting their owner or humans. That's why you see speaking as a man, this is why you see a lot of so-called porn stars. They have cats as pets, man. Or there's a terminology called crazy cat lady, right? Because why are crazy women associated with cats? Because the cats make them crazy by infecting them with parasites, right? And that's going to spread with the filth accumulating in Philadelphia, man. So you're going to have people bugging the fuck out, man. You're going to have people doing wild, having wild sexual relations because the parasite hijacked them and they want to spread, and the parasite wants to survive and wants to multiply, wants to go from host to host. And one of the three best ways parasites can spread is via feces, saliva, and blood, man. All right? And this is why sodomites this is why sodomites get infected with something called HIV or AIDS. It's because what do? They play in feces, man. They have sexual relations inside of feces, which is awful, man. All right? And because of that, that parasite is able to spread from host to host, right? And because of that, you end up with what they call AIDS or autoimmune deficiency syndrome, HIV. Right? And this is why a lot of straight men slop it. This is why a lot of sodomite men with HIV doesn't pass it along to straight women that lay with them. Because a lot of straight women lie with sodomite men, you know, and have vaginal intercourse. They don't end up with HIV. It's harder to spread from vaginal intercourse. But when you have anal sex, so really sodomy. When you commit sodomy, it's easier to spread because one of the ways parasites spread is through feces. Right? You know, you can get parasites just by kissing somebody. You can get parasites by having vaginal sex too, right? But that specific parasite that causes HIV and AIDS is usually spread by blood or feces. That's why HIV and AIDS is spread by, you know, drug addicts sharing needles, right? Because they're mixing drugs. And it doesn't have to be a whole parasite to infect you. It could just be the egg of the parasite, which is a lot of times microscopic, so you really can't see it. A lot of eggs do grow large enough visibly to see it, and when it passes through your system, you see it in the toilet. You take you drop a deuce, and you look at the features in the toilet. Sometimes you can see parasites. A lot of children, unfortunate children, a lot of children with skin problems, skin rashes, eczema, psoriasis. That's caused by parasites. Their blood is tainted. A lot of times you can see it when they pass feces or do a number two. You'll see worms in there, man. It's a nasty sight. A lot of animals, a lot of pet owners take their dog or cat to the vet because in their poop they see worms crawling out of it. That's why a lot of pet owners really everybody has parasites, really, truly. But the worst ones, the most affected people, are usually pet owners, man. And Philadelphia is going to be a breeding ground for this shit, man. Expect crime to go up, especially around a full moon in Philadelphia. You know what I should do? I should take a note and say, let's see the crime rate as it is now, compared if the strike continues on, compared to a week or two from now during the full moon. And if the skyrocket or parasites are one of the most suffering things in society, And you wonder why, or actually you're thinking to myself, I was thinking about myself, I always wondered why, it's locking from rambling too, but I've been down several rabbit holes, and I always wondered why, what was the point of inducing heavy metals in food, inducing it, or cloud seeding it, inducing it into the environment, inducing it to water supply. I used to think the number one purpose of it was, calcifying pineal glands. Because your mind, or it's like your brain is a magnet to heavy metals. Right? That's why a lot of, and it messes up the way neurons fire together and the way neurons communicate. This is why you see a lot of children with autism now, because of the heavy metals and jabs they get. And you should see the jab schedule children get. I believe it's upwards to a number of 58. So somebody that trusts Esau, somebody that trusts the science and believes that, if they follow that schedule, they'll sacrifice their children to up to 58 jabs. And this is why you see a lot of children illnesses that occur now that didn't occur 50 years ago. So imagine 100 more years in this place. The Wadi Abbas shall be on the book with that. Nonetheless, I used to wonder why I used to wonder why heavy metal is such a thing. It's because parasites, they feed on heavy metal. They might traverse and travel better through high amount of serotonin. What they truly feed on is toxins and heavy metal. And and everything that it eats has to shit. It has to release. It has to digest what they're eating. So as parasites feed on heavy metals, they release toxins into your bloodstream. This is why skin issues, whether it be acne, psoriasis, eczema, all comes back down to the blood. It all boils back down to the blood, man. Like the scripture says, the blood is the life of the man. So the real reason why Esau, Edom, and the heathen, the wicked, pollute everything with heavy metals, is not to calcify your pineal gland. That's just a side effect. That's just a bonus add-on for them. But when your pineal gland is calcified, you're easier to control. you're less likely to cry out. They're easier to manipulate. But the main reason is to feed the fucking parasites, man. Parasites promote wickedness, man. This is why the Lord said, or the scripture says, which is the Lord, because the Lord is written in the volume of the book, you know. Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 4, for into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. You know, wisdom is not going to dwell in a vile and contaminated body. You're constantly smoking, you're constantly smoking, you're constantly eating the defiled food, never repenting. Wisdom is not going to dwell in you, man. And wisdom doesn't dwell in you, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom is dwelling in you. You're not going to fear the Lord. You're not going to fear judgment. So you're going to continue to do more abominable things. Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 5, for the Holy Spirit of the Salaki, for the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit, and will remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness come within. Right? It's not going to stay there now. You know, you'll, if your body is subject to sin, if your body is subject to sin, your body is subject to sin, you know, you might walk by or hear the word of the Lord, or hear a brother on the highways and byways telling you to repent, telling you, breaking down prophecy, telling you what's about to happen, explaining who you are. That wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is not going to abide or continue to reside in you. It's going to leave. But this house is too filthy for me to live in. I got to leave this place, man. I don't know what the Holy Spirit will do, man. And then from there, you'll continue to be abominable, continue to be wicked, continue to basically not give a fuck, continue to not fear the Lord. Alright, so again, the Wadi Abbas and Yal Shai, we're not, you know, in this position. And it's crazy too, again, I gotta say the Wadi Abbas and Yal Shai, you know, I wanted to get to my list of being grateful to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh, being grateful to the Lord, giving more thanks, man. But I only ended up giving one on my list. Let me get one more now. Oh, actually, I got two. Let me get one more and I'll close out Lord willing. Book of James, chapter 1, and verse 17. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of his turning. Right, so every good thing, every good gift, every perfect gift, and shit, every bad thing as well, comes from Yahweh from the outside. Right? Alright, so if every good thing comes from the Lord, who do we have to give thanks to? We gotta give thanks to Yahweh from our side. Just like on the flip side, if every bad thing is from the Lord, who do we gotta give thanks to? We don't give thanks to Satan. We don't give thanks to the devil. We don't give thanks to our enemies. We give thanks to Yahweh from our side. Alright, but I'm gonna wrap it up with that. Lord willing, the is edifying. To the flock of Yahweh from our side. Once again, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Ba'ashem. I'd like to give general honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone that rule well. And I want to say peace and salutations to the life of the nation of Israel. To you all, say shalom. Until next time, I'm going to say shalom and a bar of all, man.